After a couple rescued this lost kitten, they were stunned when its fur started to change color. When Catherine Van Beek spotted a tiny kitten, desperately searching for its mother, she never would have guessed the bizarre turn things would take. In the weeks following the well-timed rescue, the orphaned kitten's fur began to turn patchy and dark. Now, as Van Beek watched him growing, there was no mistaking it. His color was magically changing before her very eyes.
Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos.
Bruce the cat has become quite the popular kitty, but that wasn't always the case. In fact, on November 3, 2015, he was found utterly bedraggled and clinging to life in his hometown of Auckland, New Zealand. Thankfully, though, Bruce's fate was turned around when a woman called Catherine Van Beek found and rescued the tiny kitten. Lucky as he was, Bruce came frighteningly close to missing out on such a cushy rescue. You see, the day he was discovered was a seriously wet one. And it's a small miracle that Van Beek managed to see him at all through the torrential rainfall. At first glance, she even thought the tiny gray creature was a mouse or a rat. When she got closer, though, she realized that what she'd taken for a rodent was actually a newborn kitten. He wasn't meowing when I found him, Van Beek told Love Meow on January 4, 2016. But he was crawling slowly along on his tummy. It was as though he was trying to find his mother. Poor little mite, she recounted. And to make matters worse, the kitten couldn't have been very old, as Van Beek informed News Now. His eyes were still closed, and he still had his umbilical cord attached. No one seemed to know anything about the baby cat, or how he'd come to be orphaned, but the big-hearted Van Beek couldn't just leave the kitten there. So she did what any animal lover would do, and took him home. And yep, you guessed it. Before long, she'd adopted the little guy for her very own. As for the name, she called him Bruce after Batman's orphaned alter ego, Bruce Wayne. With Bruce now inside in the warm and dry, Van Beek began nursing him back to health. Becoming a parent to a newborn of any species is no easy task, but both Van Beek and her husband rose to the challenge and stuck by the kitten during his recovery. During the first few months of Bruce's life, he was incredibly vulnerable, and the Van Beeks had to bottle feed their new fur baby. They were on 24-hour kitten watch, and it wasn't long before Bruce found his voice. He wasn't shy about letting them know when he was hungry, either. But even under the attentive care of his new humans, Bruce's poor health led to turbulent times. Living up to his namesake, the fragile feline survived several brushes with death. As a result of these scares, however, even Van Beek's work colleagues became concerned for the little kitten. On December 24, 2016, Van Beek told the NZ Herald, "I was working for Auckland Council at the time. They were really interested, so I started a Facebook page to keep everyone updated." Despite all the challenges, though, Bruce was a survivor. And while everyone loves an underdog, or undercat in Bruce's case, Van Beek didn't expect Bruce's popularity to soar. "At first it was a real life and death battle, and then I thought interest might fade," she said. But with Bruce rapidly becoming an online star, something unusual started happening to the cute kitten. Yes, Bruce's light gray fur was darkening and becoming patchy. At first, the dark splashes were limited to his paws and face, but they soon started to spread. Before long, his entire body had become black, completing his transformation from Bruce Wayne to Dark Knight. The spectacular change stunned Van Beek, and at first, the cause of the palette swap was a mystery. Regardless of the reason, though, Bruce's magic act caused a further swell in his fan base. Suddenly, he was more popular than anyone could have predicted. He started turning black, so that interested people, Van Beek informed the NZ Herald. And from there, Bruce gave the world what it wanted. Soon, he had social media platforms on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. However, he didn't stop there. Bruce even set his sights on the literary world with a book about his life, written and illustrated by Van Beek. But the question still remains: what caused Bruce's color change? The explanation lies with a condition called fever code. The unusual condition is triggered when mother cats experience upheaval during pregnancy. The disturbance might be caused by stress, or if the expectant mommy catches an infection. It can even occur if she's accidentally given medication without prior knowledge of her pregnancy. The resulting effect, the aforementioned fever code, temporarily displaces the color pigment of a kitten's fur. Essentially, the fur doesn't know what color it is yet and takes on a light hue. It can in fact take up to 8 months for the pigments to reassert themselves. Anyhow, Bruce and the Van Beeks move to Dunedin, where his exploits continue to be chronicled. There's even a second book in the works inspired by Bruce's adventures in his new hometown. It's a bit of fun really for me, Van Beek told News Now.